There we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sunday Sweat Club. As you can see, I am hanging on to the holidays for at least one more week. I'm going to enjoy the festive vibes, so hopefully you enjoy them today as well. I also have a Christmas candle lit over there. Today's class will be a little bit different than some of our other classes. It'll be a little slower, a little more mindful, and I just want to encourage you to listen to your body, right? I am really happy because I have so many people live today. This is like our busiest live class, so I can tell everyone's back from the holidays. So I'm grateful for all of you that are here now, and grateful for everyone who's joining afterwards as well. Let's get started. Today we will begin in child's pose. And if possible, I would like you to take your knees as wide as you can. So our normal child's pose is a little bit more comfortable, but today we're going to be working on internal, external rotation of the hips a lot. So take a nice wide child's pose, try to sit your butt back towards your heels and then reach your hands forward. Option, if this is a lot on your knees, you could pad up with a pillow under your butt between your hamstrings. And then start to wiggle in the hips a little. I want you to think about how your hips are feeling today and notice if there are any areas of soreness before we get into the practice. Just that beautiful little moment of self-inquiry, right? And then come to stillness. Hands reach forward, forehead to the mat. Try to release through your pelvic area. So if you're holding on in the glutes, in the inner thighs, try to let go and surrender into really the nurturing, but in this position, stretching form of child's pose that we have. Take a deep breath in. And a gentle sigh out your mouth. Let's do that again. Draw your breath all the way into your low abdomen. Open mouth exhale, let it go. Close your mouth. And then inhale steady through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now hold your breath here. Try to allow your breath to just hover without locking out your throat. So you're kind of using your diaphragm, right, to sit in this moment between breaths. And then exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Empty the lungs and hover here. Same thing, trying not to lock out the throat, fighting that urge that says, oh, I need to breathe. You don't, not yet. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold here again, top of the breath. Imagine it just floating in suspension. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Empty the lungs, hold, hover at the bottom. Relax the face, relax the legs. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, last round. Maybe you take an extra sip of air, try to encourage your diaphragm to expand out and away from your torso. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold at the bottom in a moment of stillness. Hold, hold, hold. Empty lungs, empty mind. And take a breath in. Find a pattern of breath you'd like to use throughout today's class. Maybe you keep that 6 count. Maybe it's a little bit shorter. If you know Ujjayi breath, you can constrict the back of your throat. And throughout class today, we are going to be working, like I said, on the hips. So our goal is to be aware of any emotions that might come up, as well as sensations. So they say that emotions are stored in the hips. Although that may or may not be true, what I do think is when we work on areas of our body that are uncomfortable or really tense, it tends to bring out emotions that we've been holding in. So today, that's all we're looking at. We're just being curious. What happens when we move our hips, physically and mentally? On your next breath in, push into your fingertips and pull yourself very slowly up from a child's pose into a tabletop. If you're anything like me, you might feel that the hips are, ooh, that was a big wide child's pose. So bring your knees under your hips, your wrists under your shoulders, and just kind of sway side to side with the hips, opening left, right. And then come back to center. Instead of doing cat-cow today, we've done this once before, we're going to work on doing a pelvic tilt. Lots of hip work today, right? So as you inhale, tilt your pelvis up towards the sky. It's basically cow pose, but trying to maintain that only in the low back, in the pelvis. And then as you exhale, just round through the lower back, tuck the pelvis. Inhale, tilt. Maybe you close your eyes to try and zoom in on this area, right? Exhale, tuck. Again, inhale, tilt. How specific can you be? Just trying to tilt the pelvis. Exhale, tuck. Last time. Tilt and then hold here. Start with just the pelvis tilting. Then bring that tilt or that drop of the low belly. Drop your chest, roll your shoulders back, look high. Now we're in our cow pose. Close your eyes, look at your third eye, take a breath in. And a breath out. Now, same thing as you take your next breath in, tuck only your pelvis. It's really hard to do, right? Just the pelvis is going to tuck. Then the low back is going to push up towards the sky. Then the mid back, and then eventually the upper back rounds, the head tucks, and we're in cat pose. Hold your cat pose, tuck your chin. This time look at your belly button. So imagine, it's okay if you can't see your belly button. I don't know if anyone can actually. Just try to gaze. Imagine you're looking at it for 3. Push into the hands, straighten the arms for 2. And then 1, come back to center, kick your feet around to the side and come to a seat on your butt. Reach your feet out in front of you, and then hands can come by your side, staff pose. So we start with a staff pose, sitting up nice and tall. Inhale here. Exhale, try to pull one heel towards you and then the other heel. Inhale, push them away. And if your feet are sticking, that's fine. You're just going to kind of hop them. Exhale, one heel towards you, then the other heel. Now, drop your knees out to the side, push your feet together, and come to our butterfly pose. You can wiggle a little bit to get into butterfly, and then we want that same pelvic tilt where, remember, your butt was tilting up towards the sky, right? Try to lean forward, get that bend in the low back, and then option to either have the hands on the knees or hands on the feet, elbows on the knees. Once you're there, I want your chest pulling through. So if you're rounding through the back, stay up higher, push the chest forward, right? Hands can be here. If you're here, I want the elbows with the chest still pulling forward. Now, here we go. Gently push your knees into your elbows and your elbows into your knees. Close your eyes maybe to see this sensation, right? So you're in a stretch, but I'm asking you to engage. Same thing if the hands are on the knees, you're going to push your knees into your hands into your knees. Now, this is the beginning of class today where I tell you I'm going to ask you to push. You can push as hard as you want. If you're craving a hard class today, you're going to crank it up to like 80%, 90% of your max effort. If you're chilling, just a gentle push, right? Feel the engagement. I care about the muscles for 3, for 2, and now 1, push your knees down to the ground with the strength of your body away from your hands or your elbows. Push them down, down, down. Try to feel like they're going to connect with the floor. If they're already on the floor, you're a wild child and you can just keep pushing into the floor. Either way, you're engaging. It's great. Hands come back to the feet if they're not already. Hands come back to the knees. Try to keep them where they were with the engagement. Stay low. Take a breath in and out. We're going to do that again. Take a big breath in. And then start to push the knees into either the elbows or the hands. As you do this, I would like you to go slowly. So if you're going to a higher effort, start low and then work your way up to really pushing, right? Making faces. If you're going light, I want you to just close the eyes and be intrigued about what muscles turn on. Where in your legs do you feel the muscles engaging? And then don't forget the chest is pulling forward, right? So if you're rounding through the upper back, I want you to counteract that. Keep going for 3, 2, 1, and now push the knees down to the mat. Push them down, push them down, push them down. You might be pushing as hard as you can. They should be away from the elbows or the hands. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Glutes are engaged. 3, 2, 1, and recapture either hands here or hands here. Now take a breath in. This time I'm just going to let you round forward. So option to walk the hands forward, forehead can come towards the toes, or option to stay high. If you find your low back is rounding when you're almost sitting vertical, I'd rather you try to stay vertical and just lean as far forward as you can with the flat back. And then remember, team, wherever we are, we breathe in deep and out deep. Another breath in all the way to the low abdomen. Exhale. All right. With the strength of your core, try not to use your hands too much. Can you lift yourself back up to center? Then bring your knees together. Stretch one foot forward, the other foot forward, and we're back in our staff pose. We're coming to lay down. So option 1, just lay down. Say I'm done. Option 2 will be to hover the feet and hover the hands. Hold there. I'm just going to lay down today, but you can hover and hold and watch me lounge on the beach. Keep hovering. This is great. I've never done this before where I just like chill. Keep hovering. Lift the feet. 3, 2, chest to the ceiling. 1, and release. Come all the way down to the mat. Awesome work. I imagine every single one of you were just hovering like crazy. Okay, so draw your right knee up to a 90-degree bend. The left leg should extend long. So if you look, my left leg's nice and long, right leg up, knee over hip, knee in line with ankle. Now look at your thigh, and I want you to externally rotate the thigh. What does that mean? That means the thigh rolls out, the foot rolls in. I'm going to spin, whoop, so you can see what it looks like from this direction. So this is my external rotation, right? Thigh rolls out, but my ankle is still in line with my knee. Now, option 1 is to just stay here in external rotation. Both hips should be even. Option 2 is to start to try to imagine you're turning a doorknob and you're trying to crank that doorknob. The more you crank on that hip, the more range you're going to get. And the thing is here, you can't do much damage because we're moving in an active position, right? So keep pushing and pushing and pushing as you crank with that external rotation for 3, Again, take a look at my leg if you're confused at how it's supposed to be aligned for 2. And then 1. Now we're going to switch to internal rotation. Your knee shouldn't move away from your hip. So we have the exact same knee position, and then just rotate the thigh inwards. The foot will come out. Now you'll notice it's really hard to get your foot out to the side, and your right hip is going to hike up in order to counteract that. Tell your hip, no, we're not doing that. And I care more about trying to focus on the internal rotation of the hip than where the foot is. Now you have your doorknob, start to crank on the doorknob and crank it up. So try to rotate more and more. My students in my live classes, when they're doing this, they might be making crazy little faces and they're shivering and they're shaking. So if you're doing that, you're totally doing it right. If you're not doing it, great. You're still focusing on what muscles am I engaging to get this rotation. 3, 2, 1. Okay, here we go. External rotation, bit faster now. Take a breath in. Internal rotation, and you exhale. External rotation, take a breath in. Internal rotation, and you exhale. Now, building, take your external rotation once more. Remember, thigh is rolling out, and then try to take your left foot down onto the mat. So we're building towards a little stretch here. The ankle is probably going to come on top of the knee. This is option 1. Staying here, find the rotation. If your foot's not rotated, you can kind of bring the knee over and just rest it, right? So ideally, we've got this nice little stretch. Option 1, stay here. Option 2, lift the foot up. Look at my knee. I still have that 90-degree bend. I'm going to pull my knee into my chest with just the strength of my body, okay? So that's the other option. Option 9 million is you're going to push your ankle into your knee and your knee into your ankle. At the same time, you might lift your head and chest up, work on the core. I want to do this with you, but today I'm not doing it. So what does that mean? That means you are going to push hard if you want the engagement. And if you don't, you're going to ask yourself, how am I supporting my hips here? Everybody, push your right knee out to the side. Use the strength of your body to push the right knee out. Pull the left knee in no matter what we're doing. Hold and breathe. 3. This nice figure 4 stretch. Yes, we're going to be doing this standing for 2. And then 1, everybody come down to the mat. Lift your right leg up. So we're going to unrotate. Ooh, you should feel, I don't know how your hip's feeling, but you should feel something in your hip. Wiggle the foot side to side. And then slowly release that foot to the floor, switching to the opposite side. Let's take left knee has a 90-degree bend. So look down at your leg. And then we'll externally rotate to start. So roll the thigh out. A reminder, the knee stays in line with the hip, the knee stays in line with the ankle, showing you from another angle. It's going to look like this: knee, hip, knee, ankle. Flex through the foot. Now we're turning the doorknob. The more you crank the doorknob, the hips don't move, but you start to fire up all these little tissues in the hips, right? This is ultimately, whenever we're trying to do a crazy pose in yoga, all these little boring things that we're doing, all these small movements, these are what we need to do first to move safely. So crank a little bit harder, harder, harder. You're almost there. Keep your breath flowing. 3, 2, 1. Now, internally rotate. Remember, the knee doesn't even shift. The foot just kicks out to the side a little bit if it can. If it can't, no big deal. Push the left hip down. Don't let your hip compensate. And now we turn the doorknob. We just turn, turn, turn. The more you crank, the more you shake, right? So it's really build your own adventure. Push the left hip down, rotate, roll that thigh inwards for 3. Keep your breath flowing. Imagine your diaphragm up and down for 2. And then 1. Now we move a little faster. External rotation as you inhale. Internal rotation as you exhale. External rotation as you inhale. Internal rotation as you exhale. Last time. Now, externally rotate. Here's where we come to that figure 4 stretch. So option 1, you slide the right foot up on the mat and put the ankle on top of that knee. If you're in this stretch, don't forget you're still going to push the left knee out to the side with the strength of your body. This is no hands, no matter what you're choosing. So if you're using your hands, you're cheating.
Option 2 is you can start to lift that foot up, 90-degree bend into the right knee, and try to pull this ankle in towards your chest with the strength of your body as tight as you can. Your core should pull down. Now, option 3 is we push the ankle into the knee into the ankle, and you immediately feel this fire, right? You should feel fire in the outside of the glute. Even if your foot is down, you should still feel the engagement on the outside of the glute as you push. So let's do this all together. Pick your version. And then remember, if you'd like, you can add in abs by lifting the head and neck up and the hands forward, pushing and pulling. We're really just kind of like using our own body to lift weights for 3, for 2, and then 1. Fantastic work, team. Right foot comes down. Inhale, lift the left leg high, and then just take a little bit of like rotation. Wiggle it out. Be like, how's it feel? What's my hip doing? Hip seems cool. Breath in. And exhale, lower the left foot all the way down to the ground. Right foot slides down to meet it. Now, draw one knee into the chest as you inhale, the other knee, and rock and roll yourself up to a seat. Let's take, as per usual, 5, maybe 6. And as you do this, can you focus on rounding the spine so much that you hit every single vertebra when you go? It's really hard, especially for lots of the women with the tilt in the low back. Sometimes our low back kind of smacks. So come on up, meet yourself in a seat, and then kick it around. Find tabletop pose. Wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Once more, I'm going to ask you to do this pelvic movement. So as you inhale, only the pelvis. Inhale, tuck or round the pelvis. Which way? Flip the pelvis towards the sky. Yes. Posterior tilts. Anterior will be rounding as you exhale. Inhale to the sky, trying to localize it just to the low back. Exhale, tuck. Inhale, back to center. Walk your hands one handprint forward, curl your toes under, push up and back, downward facing dog. Breath in and out. Another breath in. Push the hands into the mat, shrug your shoulders towards your ears to feel the arms engage, and out. Inhale, look forward, bend in your knees, and then you guys are gonna love this. I think maybe Angie's done this before. I'm not sure who else has, but we're gonna elephant walk to the top of the mat. What does that mean? That means the left foot's gonna lift all the way out to the side, and you might be bent like this. Lift to the side, lift to the side, little by little. I want one footprint at a time. You can make elephant noises if you want as you do it, but you're opening the hip. Try to keep the hips even while you squeeze through the glute, lift, and then come all the way to the top of the mat. Feels weird, huh? Love it. Everybody loves that. That's everyone's favorite thing ever. Fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Again, inhale, half lift, flat back. This time, take a little bend in the knees. So rather than having the legs straight, have the knees bent, and then focus on making this L shape with your body, right? Exhale, now we can fold. Sit your butt back, take your arms wide, press yourself all the way up to standing, look high at your thumbs, and then exhale, hands to heart, center, Tadasana. Breath in, and a breath out. All right, inhale, sweep the hands high, look high. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, bend in your knees. So take a look at me. When I say plant your hands, bend in your knees, I want you to bend so much that your hands are firmly planted on the ground, right? You might be here. That's totally fine. Then step one foot back. Right foot would probably be the foot. Lower the back knee down, and we come to a low lunge. So let's take the knee out to the left side. So you're going to wiggle your left foot out to the left side of your hand. Untuck your back toe. Now, in this stretch, try to push the right hip down slightly as you hug the left knee in towards the tricep. Great.
You're doing it. You're already killing it. Option one, stay here. Option two will be to tuck the back toe, lift the back leg up, and do the exact same pushing down motion. Now that you're here, no matter whether the knee is up or down, pull your left hip back in space slightly, and then try to pull your left foot towards your right foot. The more you pull, what happens? The more you work. So again, it's completely up to you, but what I care more about is what's happening in your hips. Notice as we hold this, if there's anything that comes up in this hip work, if there's anything you're like, oh my God, I am feeling a certain way, just allow yourself to feel it. It's okay. No safer space than yoga to feel your feels. Breath in. And if you're up, lower back down with the rest of us, breath out. All right. Inhale, shift your weight over into your right hand. Lift your left hand high, take a twist. Gaze up at the left hand. Now, if your right ear is in your shoulder, I want you to pull your shoulder away from your ear. Use your lat, that big muscle on the side of your body, to pull your shoulder blade down as you push your right hand into the ground. Breath in and a breath out. Another breath in and out. All right, last time. In, reach. Exhale, sweep the left hand down, but if you can, bring it to the outside of the left foot. So this is going to take a little more wiggling. Wiggle your foot back to the center. You might have blocks here. You might be like, Madison, this is really hard to do. That's totally fine. Once you have your foot in the middle, can you sink the hips down and come to Anjaneyasana? So a couple different versions. I know, I told you, we're working on hips today. It's a lot in the hips. I get it. My hips are like, what are you doing too? Reach the hands high, palms face each other. This is option one. Actually, that's option two probably. Option one is gonna be to have the hands in a little basket on top of the thigh. Sink that thigh down, but then we have the same action we had before where we pull the left foot backwards, right knee forwards. If you are comfortable here and you're craving more fire, you can tuck the right toes under and lift the back knee up off of the mat. And then you're going to be really shaken, right? Because you're pulling the feet together. So you pick, but the chest comes forward up towards the sky as you sink the right hip down. Crazy, huh? How you can sink the hip down and pull together at the same time. For 3, almost there. For 2, if your knee is up, bring it down. For 1, ooh, and then one hand to the ground, the other hand to the ground. Curl the back toe under. You might have to take 5 million movements to get here, but we're going to hop, 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 hop. Where we started, did you believe we started at the top of the mat in Uttanasana? Fold. Notice one side of your body versus the other side. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Let's take the arms wide, push it all the way up, come through chair pose, reach high, look high. And then other side, exhale, Uttanasana, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, bend in the knees, plant the hands. So remember what I said, big bend, plant, and then step left foot back, lower the back knee down. Now wiggle the right foot out to the side so the hands are to the inside of the foot. Hug the right knee into the tricep, and then push that left hip down. So our first bit of our lizard lunge. Remember what we did where I asked you not to round through the spine? This is the same concept here. You're arching through the back, trying to push the heart forward. Option to either stay or tuck the back toe and come up, continue pushing. No matter what you've chosen, you're going to pull the right foot backwards, the left knee or the left toe forwards. And then we breathe. Inhale. Exhale. Another breath in. Remember, however hard you pull is how hard you work. Exhale. Last time. Breath in.
If the knee is up, lower it back down, come to the ground, and then inhale, we twist. So reach the right hand high, look up. Now, this is a little bit challenging because automatically, a lot of times if we aren't pushing into our arm, the shoulder likes to shrug down. So I want you to push the shoulder away from the ear, tricep is straight, and then you look at your fingers if you can. Counteract this stretch by pulling the right hip back in space because we tend to cheat by pushing the hip forward. Instead, pull that hip back, then sink the hips down. Breath in and out. Another breath in, reach. And then exhale, sweep the hand to the outside of the right foot, wiggle the foot into center. Now, you might need a little time to prep for this. You might not want to prep the back knee, right, by putting a pad under it. Otherwise, you've got the foot in the center, and we're going to lift up to Anjaneyasana. And like I said, yes, I feel this too. Don't worry. Either your hands come high, or maybe you take a basket, like yay, and put it with your pinkies facing out onto the knee. And then you can sink down. You can have the toe in the back tucked. I prefer untucked so I can get above the kneecap, right? If you're on the knee, it's going to be a little bit too painful. Option to tuck the back toe and come on up. Then we hold and breathe together. So pull the right foot backwards, left knee forwards. Push the chest up, roll the shoulder blades down the back, wherever you are. Breath in and out. Another breath in and out. Okay, inhale. Sweep the hands up if they were on the leg. Exhale, plant the hands. Here we go. Curl the back toe under, lift the back knee up, maybe 1 step or 10 steps to the top of the mat. Fold forward into Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sit your butt back, take your arms wide, come to chair pose. All right. Here we go. So with the chair pose, option to stay a little bit higher like me. If you are higher like me, close your eyes and focus on squeezing your glutes and squeezing your quads. Try to bring that mind muscle connection. If you're lower, I want you to just focus on the core coming in and up and pushing your big toes and your heels down into the ground, because the lower you are, the more automatically the legs will turn on. The higher you are, the less they might work. So 2 different focuses here. Breath in and out. Keep breathing, keep squeezing. Another breath in and out. Last time. Inhale here. Exhale. Ooh, come to standing, hands by your sides. Tadasana pose. Close your eyes. Bring one hand to your heart, one hand to your low belly. And then with the eyes shut, make little circles with the hips. Just tiny little circles. See if they're saying anything to you. Reflect on any emotions that might have come up in our long stretches, because that was a lot of stretching, right? A lot of pushing and pulling. And then come back to stillness, hands by your sides. Tadasana. Okay, taking what we did on the ground to standing up. I'm going to, as always, give the option to find a wall. If balance is really hard for you, we're working on balance, but we're working on strength. And I care more today about our internal, external rotation work than I do about you balancing. So if you need to, find a wall for balance, shift your weight over, and then draw your right knee up in towards your chest. So find that 90-degree, right? Knee in line with hip, knee in line with ankle. Now, roll it out, external rotation, and hold. Look down, check in. Is your knee in line with your knee in your line with your ankle and your hip, right? This 90-degree bend, and then turn the doorknob, turn it. Maybe if it's easy for you, you can challenge your balance. Maybe you can take crazy hands, But if you're taking crazy hands, you better be at max effort on this hip twist, right? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Now internally rotate. Notice, even my hip did it. My hip likes to push up. So push your right hip down. Find that internal rotation. Try to keep the knee in line with the hip. It likes to come down here. Try to bring it back up here. Flex the foot. 3, strong in the standing leg. 2, and then 1. Back to center. Option to stay here or straighten your leg and kick your foot forward. I'm not doing it with you, but you're going to do it. Kick your foot forward. You can do it. Lift it, toe to the ceiling. 3, lift it higher, flexor point. 2, and then 1. We all release, feet together, hands by our sides. Tadasana. Close your eyes once more. I want you to think about the difference, right hip versus left. Mine just feels a lot hotter because it just did a lot of work. Breath in and out. All right. Come back to your stable wall if that's what you prefer, and then we bring the knee back to 90 degrees. So if you're standing without the wall, I want just hands on the hips. Let's externally rotate. Thigh rolls out, foot comes up and in. The standing leg is strong, like a mighty oak. Now, rotate. Imagine we've got the door handle. I'm cranking, but you're cranking with all of your amazing little muscles in your body to gain more stability, to gain more strength, to bring a or to build a body that's going to carry you into old age. Here we go. 3, 2, and then 1. Rotate in. Keep the left hip down. So maybe you've got to push your hand into your hip because it likes to creep up. Now we find that internal rotation, left hip lower, squeeze, squeeze, either flex or point through the foot. All I care about is that it is alive. Strong in the standing leg. 3, find your breath. 4, 2, and 1. Back to center. Option to stay here with me and work on balance. Option to kick the foot forward and straighten the leg so your quad is on fire. If your leg is straight, you're going to push and lift the toe to the sky. Lift it up, lift it up. We are all here together for 3, 2, and 1. Release both feet together, hands by your sides, Tadasana. Close your eyes. Breath in and out. Another breath in and out. All right, before we play with our peak pose today, we're going to flow just a little bit to kind of move some of this energy that might be stored in the hips here or here, move it out of the body with the breath. So it's very simple. We're going to do a half sun A in a succession a couple different times. So feet can be about hip width distance apart if you like, or they can be together. Totally up to you. This is your opportunity to be dramatic with your arms as we do this. So inhale, sweep the hands up, look up. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. I want as big a breath as you can take here. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, sit your butt back, take your arms wide, 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 sweep up, look up, press the palms. And then exhale, we'll fold straight through heart center all the way down. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, fold. Inhale, butt back, arms wide, sweep, lift. Remember, we're cleansing the energy, cleansing the breath. Exhale, fold all the way back down, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, finding your rhythm. Exhale, fold. Inhale, butt back, arms wide, push yourself up, look high. One more time. Exhale, hands through heart center, Uttanasana. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, butt back, arms wide, push yourself up, look high. Exhale, hands to heart center. Close your eyes, hands by your sides, Tadasana. Breath in and out. Another breath in and out. All right. Blink your eyes open. Moving on towards our peak pose today. Here, I am officially sweaty. We did it. We are going to work basically with the same rotation, but coming more to a figure four chair squat. So come back to your wall if you had one. Otherwise, come standing at the top of your mat. Shift your weight over into your left foot. Your right knee will come up just like we did before, and then externally rotate. This is option one. We've already done it all together, right? So either hand here, working on balance. Option two is where it starts to get a little crazier. You might bring the right ankle to the top of the left knee and then drop that knee down. The best way to do this is to have a slight bend in that right leg or the left leg, right? So here's option two. Great. You can hang out here. If you are, push the right knee down, push the right knee into the ankle into the knee. Option to push the butt back. Hands can come to heart center. Maybe hands, forearms or elbows to the inside of the leg, and you hold nice and low. So lots of different things. If you haven't started already, by all means, please start. If you come out, come back in. So if you need to take a break, hands by your sides. I'd like us to try 2 times on each side. So pick your version. The cue that is going to apply to all of us is push the right knee down, push the right foot in or the right ankle into the left knee, butt slightly back, legs super strong, right? Breath in and out. Another breath in and out. All right, everyone transitioning out together. So if you're here, we move very slowly, come to standing, draw the right knee up into the chest. We find our 90-degree bend once more, right? That way we all meet. Option to kick the foot forward, straighten the leg for 3, like that, 2, 1, and release. Whew. Both feet together, hands by your sides, Tadasana. Breath in. And a breath out. Blink your eyes open if they are closed. Switch your weight over into your right leg. Left knee comes up, find your bend. So you're going to do this 2 times. Maybe the first time you just work on balancing here with the external rotation. This is fantastic. This is a ton of work. Or maybe you're ready to take it deeper. Bend into that right knee. Put the knee or the ankle on top of the knee and then push the left knee down. Option to sit the butt back, hands here or here. But remember, this is your journey. So once you come out of the first version, give yourself a breath or 2, and then come back in. Recalibrate, ask yourself how one side can differ from the other. Everything starts though, guys, with this rotation of the hip, right? We can't do this pose if we can't rotate the hip. It's impossible. So finding that rotation first, building towards it, and then one day being able to fully express yourself in the deep version of this posture because we've worked on the balance, we've worked on the hip, building. For 3, wherever you are, stick it and hold. For 2, and then 1, we all come out together. So if you're low, bring it on up, unrotate the knee, unrotate the thigh, unrotate, is that a word? Anyway, we all meet together here, 90-degree bend, then kick the foot forward, flex if you like, hold for 3, 2, 1, release. Both feet together, hands by your sides, close your eyes, Tadasana. Breath in and out. Another breath in and out. All right, inhale, sweep those hands high, look up. Exhale, fold forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, take a big bend in your knees, plant your hands and step back to plank, pose, knees up or knees down. It's up to you. And then we'll all lower down to the ground together. 3, 2, 1 to your belly. And then just flip yourself over onto your back as gracefully as possible. I like to imagine that I'm a seal when I do that, just like a big chubby seal on the snow, super happy. And then palms face up. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Push your low back down into the mat. So feel the engagement, right, of the core into the mat with your feet by your hips. Press the palms into the ground, and then let's take a baby bridge. Inhale, lift the hips up. Now, before I have you come out, I want you to think, what part of your body is working the most here? Is it your quads, i.e., the legs on the or the muscles on the top of your leg, your glutes, i.e., your butt, or your hamstrings, the muscles on the back of your leg? Just ask yourself that. We're going to hold it a little bit longer because I really want you to zoom in on, and maybe you feel like they're all working. Great, just fine. But give yourself a second to see what you think might be bearing the brunt of the work, and then lower down one vertebra at a time to the ground. Take a breath in and out. So if you answered that your hamstrings are doing the work in this pose, we are going to try to deprogram that little habit in our body, because actually our hamstrings are working when they shouldn't be in this posture. In this posture, our quads and our glutes, in particular our glutes. This is really called a glute bridge, right? So press your hands back into the ground and then inhale, lift the hips back up once more. With your eyes closed, can you try to release any tension in the hamstrings while squeezing your glutes to support you? And if you're like, Madison, how am I supposed to squeeze the difference between glutes, hamstrings, whatever? It doesn't matter. It's just what we're doing is by asking these questions. If you can't do it now, one day you will be able to, right? We're making little neural pathways all the way down to our glutes. So try to squeeze the glutes, maybe lift the hips a little higher. And then as you exhale, release once more, one vertebra at a time, down to the mat. Breath in and out. Okay, team, last time. Think about these brain waves going right into the muscles that we want them to. Inhale, lift your hips up. Try to only this time squeeze your butt. Can you imagine the rest of your legs are like basically turned off, which is really challenging because you kind of need them. But like imagine that they are, right? Can you just try to bring your awareness into your glutes? Zoom into the glutes, squeeze your butt cheeks together as tight as you can for 3, 2, and then 1, lower down 1 vertebra at a time. Ooh. Hopefully you feel that in your booty. Let's take one knee into the chest and then the other. Start with no hands. Press the palms into the ground and just make little circles with your knees in one direction, massaging the low back. And then flip it opposite direction. Little massage into the low back. Now, for the last time in class, I'm going to ask you to bring your knees in line with your ankles and your knee in line with your hip. We're forming a 90-degree bend and we'll twist over to the side. So arms can come to a T, palms face up or face down. I often prefer down for now because I'm going to try to help control myself as I take my knees over to the right-hand side. So bring them on over to the right. And then gaze over to the left if it feels okay on your neck. If you feel any pinching on that left-hand side, I want you to come off and gaze up at the ceiling. Breath in and out. Shut the eyes down. Where can you relax? Notice if you're holding on, likely in the glutes or the legs, to try to keep your knees together. It's okay. Kind of allow them to separate, allow them to fall apart. If your palms are faced up, flip them back down so you have that control, and then try to inhale, bring the knees back to center, even out on the low back, and then you'll take them in the opposite direction, over to the left side, maybe gaze over to the left. If there's any pinching on the neck, gaze up or even to the opposite side. I think I said gaze to the left. You want to gaze to the right here if you can. Breath in and out. Where can you surrender? Try to let go of tension in the glutes, in the legs. And then head comes back to center. Press your palms into the ground. Inhale, lift yourself back up. And now a few different options to end class because our bodies are all different and they may all want different things. Option one, happy baby. Take the knees to the outside of the triceps, pull the hands into the feet into the hands. You can stay there. Option two, feet together, knees wide, Supta Baddha Konasana, and just allow the knees to fall out. Hands come by your sides. Option three, if you really like that figure four stretch we did earlier, you're welcome to do the same stretch, but maybe reaching the hands through the legs, the hand through the legs, and pulling in, doing the yoga version of this stretch. Because I would say today we did the mobility version, right? I will let you know when you've been about a minute, and then we'll switch to the other side. So you can either hold your chosen pose for 2 minutes. You could do all three. You could do whatever you want. This is your party. You might already be in Shavasana and be like, Madison, shut up. So pick what feels best for you. And then as you move, can you zoom in one last time on how your hips are feeling? If, like me, your legs feel maybe a little shaky from all that engagement work we did. I said I was going to take it easy, but when I'm cheering you guys on, it's hard not to cheer myself. About a minute, so switch to the other side if you haven't already. And then when you feel like you're complete on either your happy baby or your other movements, you can start to prep for your Shavasana. So make yourself comfortable. Maybe you even put a pillow behind your head, and maybe you put a little sleep mask on to make yourself feel truly cozy. And then if you are in that two-sided stretch, let's all move to Shavasana now. Take your feet wide, palms face up, and maybe your feet today a little wider than normal. Just because of all the work on the hips, maybe we give it a little more space. Take a deep breath in. Exhale. Close the mouth. And before we drift off, I would just like you to briefly reflect on any
sensations or emotions that may have come up during class today? Did you notice any reoccurring thoughts, thought patterns? Just getting curious about what happens with our mind when we ask it to, one, be challenged physically, but also to slow down, to sit in discomfort. Knowing that through breath, we can start to bring these emotions out, release them, or just learn more about what they mean to us. Take another breath in. Open mouth exhale, sigh it out, and come fully into Shavasana. You are welcome to stay here as long as you like. You can just shut your laptop or your iPad and drift back off into Shavasana. But if you are ready to come out of the practice with me, you can do so first by just taking a big breath in and a big breath out. Reawaken your body with subtle movements, maybe beginning with the fingers and toes. And then allowing them to gradually get larger. Rock your head side to side. Open your mouth, wiggle your jaw. And then draw one foot or one knee in towards your chest and the other. And roll over onto your favorite side, using your arm as a pillow in fetal pose. Press yourself up to a comfortable seat, facing any direction. And then once you've arrived, allow your spine to grow long. Hands can come to heart center, maybe 2 thumbs to the chest or 2 hands over the heart. Take a deep breath in. Open mouth exhale, sigh it out. Close your mouth. Bring your thumbs to your forehead, your third eye. Maybe put a smile on your face. Thank you all for joining me. Happy Sunday and namaste. Great work, everyone. It was such a pleasure to have everyone in class today. I hope to see you all live next week, but if not, I will send you the recording per usual. Hope you have a fantastic week, and I will see you soon.